Howdy. This is the award-winning car talk show in real time, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Along with King Conrad DeLong, Don Armstrong here. Mike is out today, filling in his seat. Our fabulous engineer, Mr. David Ainsley. And over there,
more Jeff.
It's more Jeff. We need more Jeff. Jeff Zekin is handling all of our video switching today, so thank you all for being here and your support. Thank you for being you. And don't go changing to try to please me.
I wouldn't.
There's a song in that, you know.
I'm sure there is. Probably an old song.
It? No, it's not. Well, it is old, but it's not that old. That'd be
Twiggy.
Billy Joel.
Oh, okay.
What do you listen to radio? Do you listen to music while you're out on the road?
No, mostly talk radio. I listen to.
What is your favorite kind of music?
Classic rock.
Classic rock.
60s, 70s, not much of the 80s, but 60s and 70s.
Really? I'm kind of an 80s kind of guy.
Well, you're closer to it than me. Whoa.
He gone.
Goodbye, Don. The new host
Tomlin's
of the show.
laughing because he knows it's true.
Oh, my God. So joining us right now from Apex Motor Works, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Mr. Richard Tomlin. Richard, good morning, and thanks for joining us, and thanks for putting up with our clowning around here on the show, but you know how we are.
Can't hear him.
No,
Can't hear you.
Yeah, I think that you have to unmute yourself over there on that end as he goes. Oh my goodness, yes. So if you can unmute yourself, that would be great.
There he is. Now I see him.
Okay.
Now try.
I'm still not hearing you. So at any rate, we're going to talk to Richard. Hopefully,
There you go.
Can you hear us now, Richard? Well, I can hear you, but it's really
muddy,
muffled.
yeah.
You're really muddy. I don't know why, but at any rate, we're going to talk to him about this thing called the Seattle to Houston Charity Run, and from what I understand, this charity run is kind of unique in the fact that. You've got a limit. You buy a one-way ticket to Seattle and go find a car for under $2,000 or so, and then get it back here
Somehow.
Somehow, some way by October the 25th at 5 p.m. And I don't know how we really need to get him on there. Yeah, it's kind of like a roadkill thing where the guys go to the junkyard and they get a car out of the junkyard, get it to run. And then they go somewhere in it,
They
rally
go do
or
something.
Yeah, they go do something in it.
Well, I was looking at Facebook Marketplace in the Seattle area to see what kind of cars are available. There's actually some pretty nice cars available under $2,000. The question is, will they drive all the way to Houston, Texas?
In Seattle. Well, it's not Portland, but it's close.
And, you'd be out on the highways most of the time. And I was talking to Richard about it, and he says, if your car breaks down, sell it, get another one on the way. Your objective is to get to Houston with a car, and then to donate that car you get to Houston in to a charitable organization.
I think that's a great deal. And, I can only imagine going to a junkyard. And I have to tell you, I've got a couple of favorite shows. Obviously, one of them, Roadkill,
Yep.
which I've just described to you. The other one is the guy up in British Columbia.
Bad Chad?
No, not Bad Chad. But he runs a thing called Rust Valley Restores.
Oh, I watched that as well.
The white guy with the dreadlocks. And he owns a junkyard. And he owns a junkyard. What is it? What's the problem?
We're trying to get
Richard dropped out.
Oh, Richard dropped out.
Yeah.
Okay. So he owns a junkyard in British Columbia. So you can imagine the weather and the atmosphere there. It's a small town in British Columbia. And the junkyard is full of what he considers classics. Most of them are
Rusty Gold,
very rusty gold, and there are all sorts of kinds of cars out there, some with engines, some almost rusted beyond repair, but he's got this huge junk, and he'll go out there and pick a project car. And, of course, the project car from the outside looks really good, and then they get it up on the rack, and then they start digging into it, and there's not much to dig because there's huge rust holes and all sorts of problems with it. It's an hysterical show for me, anyway, to watch. Some people like it, some people don't. Unfortunately, there's just not enough episodes. There's 2 and a quarter seasons of shows. So it's been it's been an interesting, and I'll tell you what, man, to see him go through all of this stuff for the little money that they eke out of it, because he spends all of his money in the restoration of the cars.
Or rebuilding all the metal that
Yeah, he's upside down in it. And
that would be the same environment in Seattle, because British Columbia is just north of Seattle across the Canadian border.
Yeah.
So with that,
Richard, do we have you now? We're everybody's shaking their head saying, "Richard,
I'm back.
Richard is
oh,
here."
there we go. We got you.
Okay, so
Sorry. Had to get off the Bluetooth. Sorry.
the Bluetooth. That's what
Yeah,
the
it wasn't
problem.
working so well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, very good. Well, it's good to see you, and I hope things are going down there well at Apex Auto Works. So, tell us about the rally. So, I guess it's more of a charity run than it is a rally. It's not a speed event, but you've got a timeline. So to get a one-way ticket to Seattle, and then what?
Yeah, one-way ticket to Seattle. We meet at a place called The Shop in Seattle. They're an importer of a bunch of classic cars, bikes. We'll meet there, and then we're going to set a budget. And a budget anywhere from $750 to $1,500. And you go buy a car. Go buy a car, come back. We look at it, judge it, go, yeah, you spent this money, or that looks fair. Sit around, socialize that evening if you've got time, or you go do some maintenance on your car. We're sure some people will be doing oil changes and ball joints and wheel bearings of the sort, because we found some pretty amazing cars in Seattle. It's really interesting what you can find when you dig a little bit. But in the end, we leave there Friday morning at between 7 and 9 a.m. We'll start letting cars go at 7. You've basically got 24 hours to get from Seattle to Golden, Colorado. So we're going to be working with Haggerty Insurance. We're meeting at their corporate offices that morning. So that'll be your first known waypoint. So you basically got 24 hours to cover 1,300 miles.
Yowzers.
So that'll be 19 hours of driving to get there. Some of those will be mountain roads. Some of those will be at night, of course, which is part of the fun and the challenge. And you're going to be in a $1,000 cash car. Then next morning we get up, we do Golden, Colorado. We leave there, drive to Houston, which will be another 1,000 miles, basically 15 hours of driving. And we'll finish up here at Apex Auto Works. We got a couple charity organizations that are going to be on site. The goal is that we donate our cars to charity. You can change somebody's life by giving them a car, even though it may be somewhat of a beater. If it gets you to and from work, which is where these vehicles started originally, then we've done our part at helping someone else get a leg up in life. Well, and that's the goal.
And the other thing is, if it made it from Seattle to Golden to Houston, it'll probably get them to and from work.
Yep, and that's part of where we're going with this. And in 51 hours of basically the event is a 51-hour window. You'll cover that 2,300 miles. You'll buy a car. You'll create some amazing friends along the way, I'm sure. We've got 15 teams entered right now. Looks like 2 of them are actually joining Haggerty, one from local. Angelica, as all of you guys know, and Nolan from Dallas have joined us. So it's going to be an amazing time, a chance to meet some new people, and do something you'll be able to talk about at the bar the rest of your life.
So if we decide to join you on this venture, and we fly up there, I mean, do you have some sort of direction for us to go and find a $1,500 car?
Most of them we've found have been on Facebook Marketplace. It's kind of replaced the Craigslist. Even though some people are shopping Craigslist, I prefer Facebook Marketplace. And I've had people that have found cars in as little as 5 minutes. They're like trying to buy it, and it's already gone. So there's some amazing cars for under $2,000.
There was a red Mustang convertible for $1,750 on Facebook Marketplace probably about 3 days ago, and I'm sure that's gone by now.
I think my favorite one, two, was the 2003 Audi. Was $350, needed a timing belt. Well, the risk there is a timing belt probably been a valve, but it's $350. And I'm like, yeah, if I got a little time, we could fix that. And then we found a Toyota Sienna van, 230,000 miles on it. It was $900.
A terrorist van.
230,000 is still running and driving. $900. Throw the seats out and let's go.
I was just going to say that sounds like a terrorist van to me.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't look at the Mazda Miata, the kind of rusted out Mazda Miata with the roll cage in it. The single
yeah,
loop
we
roll
found some Miatas. We looked at some of those. We are going to have a service truck that will be running sweep, as we call it. So my truck will be up there. It'll be running last with all the tools, some tow ropes, some of the basic equipment we could use to help people get their car back up and running, because not everybody is as mechanically inclined as some of us. But we'll have 2 of our mechanics riding in the truck. to make sure we can get people back on the road if they're having issues. We don't want to leave anybody in a bind, and get everybody on board with AAA before you get up there, right?
Well, it sounds like one of those deals where I think that a representative from every charity in town would want to have a spokesperson on this road trip with you. How much fun would that be? Are there any motels on the way that you're going to? Have you already got set up for the guests?
Well, the initial night of hotel is included, which will be there in Seattle, and we'll finalize a lot this week because we just got the shop on board, so we're going to be close to that. But due to where people may stop or not stop, we don't want to create landmark hotels. We will have some here in Houston or Alvin because we know people are going to want to crash pretty good after doing 54 hours of hoofing it to get here.
Well, I just can't. So how, if I wanted to join you guys, I tell you what, I'll let you ponder this. If I wanted to join you guys, you're going to have to tell me how I can go about doing that. And I want to talk to you about that. We need to take a break. Can you stay with us for just a second?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's good. I don't have my act together here, but I'm trying to get there. So if you'll give me just a second. This just sounds like way too much fun, and I sure would like to be in on this deal, and I know that you're going to tell us how, so stay with us.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, welcome back to the In Wheel Time Car Show. Talking with Richard Tomlin down at Apex Auto Works on this Seattle to Houston charity run coming up October 22nd to the 25th. It sounds like tons of fun. So if I want to get more information on this or sign up or do it or whatever, how do I go about doing that?
That is all through our Facebook events page. So basically, you just go to Facebook, Apex Auto Works, and it'll show us being in Alvin, Texas. And then you go to the events tab, click on there, send us a message that you want in, and at that point, we'll start the paperwork process. There's really not a lot to do there. Get a deposit down for your spot. We did limit it at 20 spots, but we're about to fill those. So we're looking at maybe going to 25 cars for this first one. Get it in the books, figure out all of our systems, and then make next year looking at 50 cars.
Yeah, Don's already asked me to find him a used ambulance, and he's going to go as
Yes.
Dom DeLuise from Cannonball
Good
Run.
with that.
A used ambulance. Can you imagine?
I'll give you this one. This is probably the funniest one I think we've had yet. Is we have one team, and you've always got those unique friends, right?
Always.
And he has decided that it would be best to get a limousine, and then you put 3 teams in the limousine. So you got 6 people driving a limo. Everybody's got room to stretch out and have a good time. So if we get a limousine that's got 3 teams in it, that's possibly the easy winner as long as it's got no mechanical issues. But we also joked about having a limousine through the mountain roads. That could be all kinds of fun, too.
Well, you know, why? Now that you mention it, I'm thinking maybe kind of a hearse kind of deal. So you got a place to lay down in the back.
Stretch out. And we are adding
weird.
some what we call waypoints along the way. We're working with an app called Roadster app, Automotive app, and it will allow us to track everybody. We're going to have waypoints that they can go check into. And one of the obvious ones that everybody pretty much already knows about is if you make it to the top of Pikes Peak with your car and get a picture of your car in front of the sign with you and your team,
You were there.
you get additional bonus points.
Who came up with this idea?
This was me and about 4 of my friends just sitting around talking about how people often say you can't get a good car for $1,000 or $2,000. Like, no, I've bought X, Y, and Z. And we said, we can help other people out by doing the same thing. And it was just one of those shop nights where people are sitting around and let's go from here to there.
Was
let's
there
try it.
Was there any adult beverages included in that shop night?
Is my name Richard?
Well, what a great idea, though. And then what a wonderful finish to find somebody who needs a car to improve their life and to donate that car to them to improve their life. Could be very life-changing for those
Well,
folks.
I'm thinking also in future races, I mean, we could start one in, Miami to Houston, or we could do Niagara Falls to Houston, or how about Lake Superior to Houston? I mean, we could do far away. We could go to British Columbia.
Why did you choose Seattle?
Honestly, it was part of the country that I have not been through. I've not been to that side of the mountains.
So once again, it's all about you, Richard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I saw the map of states you visited, so I'm assuming this is going to come through a few of those states you hadn't visited yet.
Yep, it'll get 3 of them for me this time. So it's a goal, and to be able to say you've driven through every one of those states is one thing. A lot of people, they fly and land and say they've been there. I want to go drive and experience some of the great vastness of this country that we live in, and see some amazing scenery in just a beater of a car, and just go have a good time with friends.
And Seattle and Oregon have got some stunningly beautiful roads.
Yeah,
some
so
great.
it's going to be a good time, and man, if I can get you guys out there, would love to see you out there. It is going to be an absolute hoot. Any of your listeners that want to jump on, guys, hit me up on Facebook, Apex Auto Works, and go to the events page, and we'll keep in touch with what we got going on, and we'll make some live videos and live posts along the way too, and we'll see you then.
And you know that it's close enough to Halloween that we could all wear our Halloween costumes on this venture.
Well, we're all wearing masks anyway, right? So,
well, that's right, especially me. Richard, it's great to talk to you. Good luck on this. Stay in touch with us and let us know how things are going. And if you need anything, just give us a holler.
Greatly appreciate it, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Richard Tomlin, Apex Auto Works, the big Seattle to Houston charity run, October 22nd through the 25th.
That's going to be cool. That's going to be.
I would
cool.
so do that. But my automotive repair skills these days have gone right down the toilet.
I think that's why he said he's going to have that sweeper truck there, so there's going to be somebody to help.
No, but it's kind of embarrassing. Oh, I don't know what's wrong with it, man. It just quit running.
It's got a flat tire.
Yeah, it's got a flat tire. It's $1,000. It is $1,000. Hey, you got something ugly or nice to say about us? Perhaps you're still ticked off about those cheap floor mats that you bought at the Five and Dime. Well, we want to hear about it. Share it. All you have to do is shoot the gripe department an email. The address is info@nwheeltime.com. Splash and go, and we're back with Conrad's This Week in Auto History and stories making automotive news headlines right after this.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Advance Auto Parts and CarQuest present the Gary Merrill Memorial Pro Modified Race with a purse-busting $7,000 to the winner. Saturday night, September 26th at Houston Motorsports Park. Gates open at 5. The commemorative Air Force flyover and racing at 6. Wear your mask. We've got social distancing and sanitizer. Enjoy dollar hot dogs and dollar beer. Advance tickets online at NASCARHouston.com. Saturday night, September 26th. Gates at 5. Racing at 6. Houston Motorsports Park. The $7,000 Gary Merrill Pro Modified Race. Bring the kids. Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild to wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com.
You know, time flies when you're having a good time, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
We've already blown through an hour and a half, almost.
And this is my music. I love this song.
I know you do. Here, let me turn it up.
Kind of reminds me of some Munsters music or something.
It does, yes, it does. And we're getting closer and closer to Halloween, so maybe I can break out the entire album that has this music on it, just for you.
Works for me.
Okay.
So this week in automotive history.
Yes, sir.
In 1899, the first recorded automotive fatality happened.
I remember that.
I imagine you did. And that's when, George Bliss stepped out of a building in New York City and got hit by a passing car. They said the car was only doing about 11 miles an hour, but I guess it kind of went squish.
Well, I guess he reached bliss after that, huh?
And then in 1908, William C. Durant founded General Motors Corporation, and he consolidated several motor car companies to do that, and those were Buick, Oldsmobile, and Cadillac were the first parts of General Motors Corporation, and then over time they added Chevrolet and GM Truck as well, because originally it was called GM Truck, not GMC Truck. In 1960, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Companies was founded.
Countries.
OPEC.
Yes.
So OPEC was founded in 1960, and the original 5 core members was Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela.
And I remember about 1979, they screwed us over really good.
Yes, and stopped production and created the oil price increase. And actually, it was earlier than 79 because it was back in 71, 72, 73. When the price of gasoline, they had to change all the pumps around the country because all the pumps went up to 99 cents. And then they had to go up past $1, so everybody had to repump.
Oh, I don't remember that. But yeah, you're right.
They had the old mechanical.
Right.
So, and that was in 1960. In 1965, and this was actually one of my shows I liked, My Mother the Car.
Oh, my God.
Was
what a
released.
terrible show that was.
It was one of the shortest running television shows in history. There were only 30 episodes ever made.
God.
Jerry Van Dyke. And what kind of car was it? A 1928 Porter was his mother the car. Goofiest show ever. In 1977...
Because his mother's spirit lived in the car.
Yes, and talked to him.
Yes, and talked to him.
In 1977, General Motors introduced the first automotive diesel engine, the 5.7-liter Oldsmobile diesel.
What a disaster that was.
Hey, I made house payments working on old Oldsmobile diesels. That was back when I was a technician at Eskridge Oldsmobile. And it was introduced into the Oldsmobile 88 and 98 models.
Oh,
and it was a major selling point for those two models because you can have a full-size car that was getting better than 40 miles to a gallon. And I easily saw some cars that got 40 miles to a gallon.
If you could keep it running.
Well, the other thing is I also saw one drive off the transport truck to the dealership as they were dropping it off at the dealership, and it had a knocking noise in it. And the knocking noise was the crankshaft was broken in 3 separate places, and the engine still ran, and the guy drove it off, and I ended up having to put a motor in it. Long story short. That
wasn't short.
Well, in 1982, Princess Grace of Monaco passed away in an automobile wreck. She had a stroke while she was driving the car in some of the back roads around Monaco.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, and they said she went off a 45-foot embankment after the stroke in the vehicle. In 1988, Ford and Nissan announced plans to design and build a minivan together in hope of cashing in on the expanding minivan market. Do you remember what those two minivans were?
Caravan?
Well, Caravan was the market they were chasing. The Nissan Quest and the Mercury Villager.
The Villager, yes. I do remember the Villager.
And then in 2004, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. This week was when Oprah Winfrey gave away, what did she give away? 276 Pontiac Grand Ams, or excuse me, Pontiac G6s, as Pontiac was releasing the G6. This week in automotive history.
Oh, my God. Well, and then Ellen DeGeneres, then she kind of...
She gives away lots of stuff.
Glommed onto that. Yeah, she's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, but she's I kind of, when I can, kind of watch a little bit of the show. They're very, very generous person, and she gets lots of support from other companies.
Well, apparently her staff is out of control, and she's mean from everything that I've read.
Well, I think a lot of those superstars have a tendency to be mean. Look, we have you. But we love you, Don, nonetheless.
And the bad part about this is that they all sit around and applaud when you say that because I'm mean. Really?
No, you're not mean.
And not a superstar.
Ooh!
Never have claimed to be that.
You're just lost in the fog, but you're making very good time.
Yeah. Well, I spent most of the 1970s in a fog, so
Right.
there's that.
It's like your parents asked you what'd you do with all your allowance money, and you just said it went up in smoke.
You said that. I didn't say that. All right. As we try to move on and advance the program with the clock, a couple of headlines making stories this week. Ford Motor Company executives say the upcoming battery electric F-150 will be cheaper to operate and more powerful than the current gasoline-powered pickup, addressing two common concerns about electric vehicle ownership 2 years ahead of its debut. While the company would not provide specific figures, Kumar Galhotra, Ford's president of the Americas and International Markets Group, said the lifetime cost of operations, which excludes the purchase price of the electric F-150, will be roughly half that of the current generation vehicle. Now, that excludes the purchase price, but that is going to be the cost of operation will be less than half of the current gasoline-powered motor.
Yeah, but how much is the cost of purchase going to be?
Well, I mean, how much do you want to spend? You want to spend $100,000? Sure, we'll take your money.
Yeah, well, it's Tesla.
Yeah.
You know.
But at any rate. Volkswagen has confirmed that its new compact crossover will be called the Taos in the U.S. and says it will reveal the vehicle October the 13th. A spokesman for the brand said the subcompact crossover, which will slot below the Tiguan in price, will carry the Taos name in markets across the Western Hemisphere.
Below the Tiggy.
Yeah.
Tiggy's a pretty small little
It's not
SUV.
as small as everybody thinks it is. I mean, it's small, but it's not that small. Cadillac on Wednesday told its 880 U.S. dealers that they will need to invest at least $200,000 each on electric vehicle chargers, tooling, and training to continue selling the brand's vehicles beyond 2022.
And that will include a special space inside of their service departments to service and maintain electric vehicles.
The brand plans to launch its first EV, the Lyriq crossover, in late 2022 and have a fully electric lineup by the end of the decade. Cadillac worked closely with its dealer council to develop the standards which are integrated into the brand's standard franchise agreement, to which all of its dealers must adhere. The current agreement expires November 1st. Dealers who don't think an investment of that size makes sense for their business could remain with Cadillac beyond November 1st, but
run out of cars.
But their future would be subject to discussions with brand officials. I like the way they put that.
But that's not unusual for a manufacturer to require their dealers to step up in equipment.
But think of that little Cadillac dealer in,
Podunk,
Shiner,
nowhere.
Texas, that probably carries GMC and a Buick as well. They're going to have to invest $200,000. They don't have that kind of money. Goodbye Cadillac brand for them.
I say goodbye Cadillac.
Yeah. Automaker has made Cadillac its lead brand for electrification, and the requirements differ from those being imposed on U.S. dealers who sell Chevrolets, GMCs, and Buicks.
Well, Nissan dealers had to make that kind of investment a number of years ago when the Leaf was released.
Yeah.
Those power stations out front of the dealership that you have access to 24/7 for their customers are not cheap. So
we need to take a break. In Will Time Show is going to continue right after this.